four, three, two, one. Welcome to Sydney Reflect Aragya Pokhrel.
Thank you, Vikesh.
How are you, man?
I'm all right, bro. Doing good. How are
Been
you?
good. I'm all good, man. All good. It's been like 3, 4 weeks now. I've been in home. I just went out for the work like 2 days in this time, and yeah, I've been home. I'm going crazy right now, man. Just sitting at home. I am busy. I am doing a few stuff here and there, but it's hard when you are just at home and logged in a confined space for a long time. It makes me go
I was
crazy,
gonna say that must be hard for someone like you because you're always
Exactly,
doing something, always
exactly,
chasing this
man.
and that. So yeah, what have you been up to, bro?
Not much,
In the
man.
free time?
I've been actually working. I'm trying to get this talk show going on. So
Oh, okay.
it's from an online TV network, and what we're trying to do is like bring in different celebrities or artists and just have a talk with them, like just like a talk show, whatever. Like ask questions, or maybe we could play some games with them or something like that. And I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
working mostly on the cinematography part of it, but I'm also looking into who's coming in or what is happening overall. So I'm getting like a
Okay.
feeling of a producer right now doing that. So that's a
Wow.
good thing I'm learning.
Exciting. That's good.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
who is gonna be your audience like?
Like our audience.
Yeah.
Our audience are mostly international students, I guess, because that's what we're trying to do with this podcast. It's more of a, like sharing the stories of international students, learning from each other. So that
Okay.
was the main motive why actually Neeraj, my friend, he started and I just joined in recently. So
Mm-hmm.
that was his idea, and that's what he was doing since like past one sorry for past 1 or more years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's basically what our audience should be, according to what I know, mostly
Okay.
the students.
It's gonna be interesting, bro.
So today
And
let's
it's gonna
talk
be
about
online, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it will be online mostly. So we are here with the masks because that's what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, bro. The
COVID.
lockdown,
Yeah, man, the lockdown, the
man.
COVID. Do you know that I wouldn't say this lockdown or this pandemic as a COVID-19 pandemic, but instead I would say a coronavirus pandemic?
Yeah, 19 is
Remember?
a bit outdated. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because when it came in first, we didn't say COVID-19. We didn't give it a name as COVID-19, although it was
No.
there in the official media. But whenever we
Yep.
were talking, we were saying like coronavirus instead of like COVID-19. That's how it started. And
That's
do you
true.
remember like when did it become COVID-19? Throughout all the journey, like for 1 year, it became COVID-19. But I haven't been exactly able to figure out the point or the time during when you started saying COVID-19.
I don't know, man. Maybe January
Maybe after the lockdown, most probably, or when the
or
lockdown
maybe New
started.
Year. Yeah, no. I don't know, bro. Like it was always like COVID, Corona, whatever, the virus.
Mm,
And I remember it wasn't like a big deal in 2020, to be honest, right? I don't know because I was immature about it or I
mm,
didn't keep up with the news or whatever it wasn't that serious for me, for us, I can say.
mm-hmm,
Like, and we used to meet up and go for a ride or just meet up and play music or whatever.
mm-hmm.
But I think this year it has changed a little bit, no?
It has, man.
Is
It
it?
has. Like we're more
It's
serious now because when it came in, when it started, it was like like a common cold and flu. It wasn't taken so seriously by anyone. Like
Mhm.
there was a case actually. I was working during that time in uni as like a student helping officer, something like that. Whoever comes in for their first admission and everything. And there was
Okay.
this one guy who was, I don't know exactly where, but somewhere in Iran or somewhere, some country who had seen like war, like terrorist attacks and everything. And he came
Hmm.
in and he said like, I've seen worse than this. Like I have seen terrorist attacks and everything. I'm not afraid of this. So that
Right.
was, I think still people like that still have that mentality, but that was like the case, like you meet people like that too. And during that time, it was taken very lightly. That's what I would
Yeah.
say. It was very lightly,
Exactly.
taken
Yeah.
lightly.
I think it was just the shock of it
Hmm.
in a way, because the way it hit and the impact it created, and
Hmm.
it was new, and everybody was like, oh wow, what is this? Because it goes through the air, and then the restrictions and measurements that were needed at the time might seem a little bit harsh at some point, but they seem so alien because you couldn't go like 1.5 meters near somebody, or just everything that came with it.
We've never
So
had that
maybe,
before.
yeah, like globally, I don't know, man. Like
Like not in
globally,
our lifetime at least.
no, but we always used to put a mask back on because the air is always like,
Yeah, we were used to
you
that. That's
have
why it
to.
wasn't a big deal for us, like wearing masks.
Yeah, I think my smelling senses are half dead, bro, just because of all the fucking smoke and dust.
We've gone through, we've been through, man. They're like, I couldn't go out. Like, if I forget a mask for a single day out there, I was sure to have that allergic reaction, and I would have like headaches and nose block and runny nose. It was crazy, man.
Exactly. So yeah, like, but that was not same in, say, Pokhara, or a different city.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe even like a country could not have had a whole time where everybody would have to put on a mask or something like that. But this one is like all across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big thing in a way, but is it, like, like there's always two sides to the story. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
but as we can see how it is affecting and how if we don't take proper measures, what can happen. We've seen that
Yes,
through this
yes,
like 1 year experience.
of
Millions of
course.
people have died, like literally died. You know
Yeah, people have died, bro,
exactly.
and I think it is a threat.
Mm,
It is killing people, so it
it
is a
is.
threat. Yeah, and the numbers have just shown that how dangerous it can be, how unpredictable. Because now the mutation or whatever within it change and come in a different strain, different
Mhm.
delta. The name is that is like, okay. So is it going to be another one coming? You know,
That's what I'm afraid
like,
of. Like, would
is
it be
this
like
injection is going to be sufficient for maybe this type? But
mhm.
what if it changes?
There's always a
And
possibility for that.
bro, if it changes once, then just imagine how many times you think it could change. Like, it's gonna be one of them Fast and Furious movies, bro. Keep going, keep
You
going,
never
keep
know,
going.
man. You never know. I am like suspecting it would be like a festival, like once a year it comes in and everything is shut down for a month.
Just
Like
entertain the world
I
for
hope
six
that
months.
doesn't happen.
I hope people don't die, but everybody
Yeah.
needs a break. Yeah,
Yeah.
times have been great at times, man. Like, well, at least last year
Hmm.
when it first happened, it was just like,
A break
oh
after a
wow, off.
long.
Yeah, like wow, how the fuck, but you're trapped because you can't go anywhere. So
It's
50-50.
actually I realized that it's similar to the feeling of you used to have like as a kid when you had a school and you used to have like a strike or something and the school gets closed and the feeling of
Yeah, yeah.
happiness you had at
You
that
stay
time.
home because tomorrow is off.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
something like that. Or
Oh
even when
man,
you were in school and they said that okay it's closed and you have to go back home, but you didn't care about going back home. It was like okay it's a holiday, I don't have to study.
you can do whatever. Yeah, no. Well, the first week, 2 weeks, I think was, but yeah, it went on for some time, bro. Like, I remember last year, I did like 5 different jobs by the end of the year,
Uh-huh.
like just 2020, because just once and twice, and the wave kept coming,
Mm,
and I'd go in, and then they'd be like, "Sorry, we're closing, cutting staff." Then I was like always being cut out.
mm-hmm,
But I don't know. This year, it just, for me, it feels like whatever the first wave hit,
mm,
the weak businesses collapsed then and there. And then whatever businesses survive, they are mutating according to time. Like they're
mm.
adapting to the COVID situation and restrict
They
it,
have to
because
now.
I think less or more businesses got shut because of COVID last year than this year.
Yes.
If, if I'm not wrong. But
It
you
is
know,
true. You can just
and
see
and
around.
businesses have found more adaptive ways to survive, or just go around and in the community at least, because some of these
Mhm.
restriction rules recently have been very, very harsh.
I know a few
uh,
businesses like who completely changed their model to like online instead of doing it physically face to face because of what happened last year. And I think
yeah,
they're adapting pretty well right now.
I think so, bro. And I was also thinking about how this might affect, certain jobs now,
Mm-hmm.
because if you can stay at home
Mm,
and you don't have to travel, and you're in your comfort zone,
mm-hmm.
let's say, and you can be equally or more productive than what you are in office, um, you know, could there be a time when these offices would not be needed? Like, oh, if you can do it from home, then why would you want to go to an office? We can just make everything go online, especially for like technology and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say so for cosmetics or, other essential needs, but definitely for like some of the branches
Mm-hmm.
of the businesses according to their model. I mean, certain of them can adapt to it, definitely, but I think there are most that would, after this pandemic, realize that they don't really need it to work in the cloud.
This pandemic has actually shown us that way, like which we already knew but had never applied it somehow. And
Yes.
because of this, now we had to apply and we did. And if we can be more comfortable like with going online and without meeting people,
Mm.
that's I think this pandemic has created that a completely different perspective for a lot of people, out there.
Yep. Yep.
There's a more chances of things going digital right now. So I think that's like a great field to be in right now, like in
Bro,
digital
it's
sectors.
funny, but people are even getting married online. Like, yes, I had maybe two of my friends send me the marriage link,
Uh-huh. Okay, so
like
it's
an
like an online
invitation.
video.
Yeah, like, what am I gonna, like,
Watch it.
yeah, like, even the photos are too much, man. Sometimes it's like a whole fucking ceremony. Are you mad? And there's no food, like, you just watch and like buy. So I don't know, like, it's funny that people are adapting so well and so fast, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, human beings have always been adaptive. So that's in our nature. But so has the virus. So it's going to be tricky for people who are fighting to, minimize the effect, or understand the virus, its nature,
Mm-hmm.
solutions, whatever. But it's been tough, I think, on government authorities,
It is.
especially because, there's so much at stake, and people are always going to revolt and disagree with the rules, because they don't see that it's not just them, it's more than them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to see that themselves or whatever. But they're just like, oh, I don't feel like it, but and they have to make
Mm-hmm.
it a rule, and then they have to take actions for those who don't follow, and
I think there
it's
is,
always going to come up in the media. So
yeah, but the thing is that whatever they are doing, as far as I can see, is somehow trying to prevent the bigger or the worst thing that could happen by doing like this, which is also bad, but it's preventing
exactly.
us from getting things worse. So
Yep.
I don't think we really can complain about it. I mean, we can.
I
It's
don't think
different for.
we should.
I mean, no,
Yeah.
man, it's different for people who are different. Like, if someone is out there who used to like live in a way that he has to work every day to meet his needs, although it's good that the government is providing the services, which is good here. Actually, I was comparing it to
At
Nepal.
least.
Like, compared
Yes.
to Nepal, like here they have that, so it's like a good thing. Like, they could do their things and just stay home, like even if they don't have work. But I wonder like how people in Nepal would be in such situations, because there were a lot of people, like who didn't have
Hmm.
much savings, who used to just work every day to make the day's needs. How are they surviving right now? So it's
I
hard.
mean,
Like, you can always complain about it. For those people, like, this lockdown is, they don't care about like what lockdown happens or what the pandemic is going to cause. All they care about is they need to eat food, or they need to meet days ends, whatever they have to do. So that creates a lot of, like clash between what the government is trying to do and what public wants in one way or the other. But there's no one particular solution to this. That's the thing. Like, we haven't faced things like this before. We are only experiencing it now, and we are learning from that.
Exactly.
It's hard
And
to say, because the way government have managed, I like, there could be things that could be better, like instead of doing it all around, just limited to few places, or like whatever the hotspots are. That's what happened this time, but it didn't work. You see what happened? Like, it started, there were 10 people, and in 1 month of time, look around, man, there are thousands of people. So if only they
man,
had like shut down at like the whole New South Wales, Sydney, as soon as like they saw 10 people coming, could that
yeah,
have maybe, like brought this number down?
very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember Victoria was closed, right? And we were still
Man,
open.
I just had a
Whatever.
chat with Prajwal like yesterday. And he was like, we went to like three,
Yeah,
4 months of lockdown, but it was like, okay, it was like earthquake was hitting us like every few months, like one wave to three, four, five, six.
man, those guys survived. That was like really harsh
I
what
think we
they
should
had
have
to.
research on those kind of things, like how did it went so bad out there and not everywhere else, and how is it going bad right now. I think there should be some studies happening. I would really like to know like
And
results or what they have come up with.
yeah, because like when people complain, sometimes I'm like, well, if you don't take measures beyond
Mm,
what you have, then it's not gonna go down. Like for instance, people are always blaming, like most people are like unhappy with the government because they have cut out whatever, but it's a pandemic, and as you said before, because we are all learning, because it's a new thing for each and every one of us, even like
mm-hmm,
scientists and medical doctors or whatever. So we are all learning, and government is no different. It has people, it
mm-hmm,
doesn't have AI
mm-hmm,
that's going to predict and be ready with the answers. So I think people have to understand to a certain extent. I'm not saying that everybody must or will, but I think if we just look at what the government is trying to do, and help paying money,
mm-hmm,
or giving you salary literally, because you lost your hours, and you're just, you don't have to work and you're still getting that money.
mm-hmm,
Not a bad thing. You completely deserve it. And how would you survive without it? But you have to look at those measures taken by government and be like, oh, okay, so they're working in ways in which they can, and,
mm-hmm.
and which they think might be more effective. Because
Exactly.
we can only think better for us, our community, our family, and think, oh, if this had been that way. Because if you have if you are a barber, your business is shut,
Mm-hmm,
straight up. If you are a restaurant, you can do takeaway. So a barber cannot be irritated or angry,
mm-hmm,
because, in a way, it's his business that's not adaptable as well.
mm-hmm,
So those kind of things, I think people should. Of course, people are always going to complain, and there's going to be some, naysayers and whatnot. But I think people should. I think people do appreciate, but like,
mm-hmm.
the frustration comes out easily. So,
I think there are only like few numbers of people like those who like keeps on complaining a lot about what things are right or wrong. The majority of the people that at least I know around my circle can understand the fact why this is happening, and
hmm,
how this is the only way for now. Maybe later on we would have different ways. Maybe everyone would get vaccinated and it wouldn't mutate and be something else. But I
exactly.
think for now we can understand that, whatever the measures are being taken, it's to
Hmm.
prevent the worst. I think we need to understand that. Although there are things that we don't agree with, but at least we can agree on the fact that this is a pandemic happening out there, and the only way we know right now to control this is by not letting it spread through people, because that's the problem
That's
out
true.
here. It's spreading through people from one to ear. At least it's good that it's not airborne. Otherwise, we would
Yep.
have to be like wearing
Oh,
gas
that
masks
man,
or
that would
something
have
else.
been a zombie movie.
Exactly.
Straight up.
Think about that, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Funny, yeah.
It would
I
have
hope the
been
virus
crazy.
doesn't have ears. Oh yeah, good idea, man.
Man, yeah,
I don't think human beings are gonna be are gonna finish so soon. Not by a virus, I don't think.
man.
I could be wrong.
Mate, human beings have the only way I see personally human beings being extinct is when the sun dies and the whole solar system dies. Even then, maybe we might have settled into a different planet. You never know, because the way human beings have been progressing right now with all the technology and everything, like I believe like anything is possible and anything can happen. It might take like certain time, certain years,
Yeah.
but everything seems to be possible right now. So even in the worst case scenario of natural calamity or pandemic, human species maybe 80% of the population will die or 90% of the population will die, but as a whole human species I don't think we would be extinct easily or anytime soon.
Okay. There's always
That's
gonna
what
be
I
one
think.
guy under the bed, no?
It could be I'm Legend, like the way the movie is Will Smith.
Maybe in the cave. Start again. Oh,
You never know, man.
I don't know. Like we are very adaptive. We have we've come from wow, yeah, long way, bro.
Exactly. So I don't think any pandemic would take us apart like that, but it surely has reduced our population by some level. And as Bill
It
Burr says,
has,
yeah, and as Bill Burr says in his comedy and everything, it's a good thing for the planet that there are less people here.
but I think
Nah,
it
it's just a
happens
joke.
every now and then. Yeah,
Huh?
no, I get it, but
Uh,
like people dying in one
mhm.
way or another, it is always happening,
It is,
Like,
but maybe now it has somehow escalated like exponentially instead of going like in a linear way.
I don't
Like
know,
instead
bro.
of just
Like,
going slowly
maybe
like
the
this.
birth rates have gone up as well, man. Or maybe they're not going
Maybe,
up.
man, because of the pandemic and lockdown, you never know. There may have been
Yeah.
more like
Imagine,
population
like,
growth because of that.
if it's both these way,
Hmm.
then people have to die, man. Otherwise, there's no place
Exactly.
where we're gonna fit, unless we can mutate into water
Mm.
and then live. I don't
Man,
know,
if we could
but
live underwater, man, that would be like crazy. Like if only we were
bro,
able to
nah.
survive underwater, man.
Wow.
I think even when the Earth or whatever happened, like whatever happens to the Earth, maybe if you could live inside water, you would have a bit more lifetime than the people who could just survive on land. Because they think about how much water is there. Like again,
Yeah.
it's scientifically possible or not possible, but if only you were like able to live like a fish, being a human being, underwater.
You have to change your respiratory system. Uh,
Mm,
you can't breathe through your nose.
something else. That's what I mean. If only we were able to adapt somehow technologically, or maybe sometimes in very very far far future, mutating into the
I hope we don't go there. Like,
yeah.
I hope we remain humans, at least,
But you never know, man.
because
The like if you look into a bigger scale, like instead of looking into 100 years, if you look into like a million years, the way things have happened on Earth, like how it started and where we are right now, there's another 4 billion years to go. You never know. We are humans right now. We could be something else, maybe in near million of years because of either mutation or radiation or something else.
if it becomes naturally, bro, like
Mm,
that's okay. But if there was like experiments conducted and be like, do you want to, or we are going to make that? I don't know. I hope we don't go there. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible. It could
mm.
be possible. There's always a possibility of everything. But I personally, I wouldn't like. That's too
Neither
much.
me, man.
Like,
That's just a kind of an imagination. It's not like,
it's like taking you out of your body in some way. And
uh,
yeah, nah, not interested.
yeah,
Bro, I was gonna talk about
uh-huh,
I was looking at this chart
mm,
of COVID stats, right?
mm,
In Australia. And I was looking at last year's stats.
mm,
So this is from 2023. April,
Okay.
when we had on average like 10,000 people that were tested every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the rate of people who were tested positive
Mm-hmm.
was on average 2.8.
Percent or out of something.
Yeah, 2.8%.
Mm-hmm.
But and there was one time I think it went very, very high. Like I'm trying to find it.
So you're looking at overall Australia or Sydney.
Yeah, not just overall spread.
Okay.
And then since then, what I can see is the number of people that have been tested or that are being tested
Mm-hmm.
has gone up, right? But the positivity rate of the virus has stayed at a minimum of 0.1%
What
compared
was that?
to less like during August last year,
Mm-hmm.
0.9% people out of 57,000 people were being positively tested for corona, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 514 people out of 57,000. And then recently, the number of tests as they have gone up, it's currently at, so let's take this stat.
Look,
This
when you're
is
comparing
of,
that, you should maybe compare with what happened in March and April because that was the time when it was at peak. If you look into August, it's like a time when it was kind of very normal out here. So if you want to compare, a good comparison would be right now because right now it's at its peak. So you
yeah,
should be comparing it to like 2020 March, April, something around that time. That would be a good comparison because of course in August last year it would be low compared to now.
no, that's what I'm saying, man. It was higher in August last year compared to now.
Oh, okay.
That's the information, bro. Last year, August, the positivity rate was
Uh-huh.
0.9%. This
Uh,
is 3rd of August 2020, yeah?
uh-huh.
57,000 people were tested
Uh-huh.
till that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the positive numbers were 514, which was 0.9% of the total population that was tested. So
Mm-hmm.
that's 3rd of August 2020. And
Mm-hmm.
if we look at, let's look at 19 July,
Mm-hmm.
or say, let's look at 15 July.
Mm-hmm.
The number of people that were tested was
Mm-hmm.
107,980,
Mm-hmm.
and 108 people were tested positive. So that's 0.1%. And this has been consistently 0.1, 0.2 since December.
That's a good
So
thing then.
in a way, I feel like the more people get tested, the larger number of people getting tested, the chances are more people are going to come out positive.
Mm-hmm.
So the number of people who come positive with the virus is going to be like how many people were tested that day. You know, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to come down to the population density of people being tested per day, because most people have it. Even if you don't have the symptoms, you get tested. Most people will have the chances of having it because they might have come in contact recently.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing to find out then, if you can do that, if I haven't. Like
Exactly. So
look at the number right now. It's really less compared to like what it was last August, which means it's a good thing, like even though in
exactly.
that number, if that less number is coming out positive, which means that actually most of the people should be vaccinated by now. That's a good thing. I think that's what like decreasing the numbers there. The other thing,
Yep. Yep.
going and checking it out as earlier as sooner as possible. So whoever are positive now they can't go out and spread it more. So going out and
True.
testing is I think a good thing. That is I think
Yeah, man.
something we should do from our part in
Hmm.
trying to control this pandemic. Something that we can do, go out and test, so at least you are positive or negative, so you wouldn't spread it more.
Yep.
Instead of that's the thing, instead of like arguing with government and criticizing government, why don't you go out there and do your part so that
Exactly.
overall it could be solved.
They have given you the options.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw news recently about Fairfield and how the COVID numbers have just escalated
Mm-hmm.
in the past week couple of weeks. And they had a camp, and they were like just two health workers that were conducting the test of like 50,000 people. And
I
people
heard
had
that they
been
did
waiting
it
for like
in
five,
one
six
day. I mean,
hours.
I heard that they did it in one day, like 50,000 people in one day by two people. Seriously. Is
They
that even
might have, bro,
possible?
but how and why? Like if you want people to get tested as soon as possible,
Hmm.
why are you giving so much pressure to health workers? Because you could have easily set more than two people over there. You could have had more than one camp,
Yep.
and things could have been much more easier for everybody. So
That's
it's like, why are there two? And they weren't even volunteers, I think. So it's the government is giving, but it is lacking,
hmm
and in some reasons, I think, and could be council, bro. Like
I
it
think it's
it
from the
doesn't have
council.
to be
It's
the
from the
government.
council.
Yeah,
Yeah. And maybe in that case they could have asked for help from a different suburb maybe or someone else. I mean, that's crazy for two people to be doing like 50,000 people. Like that's crazy amount of pressure on those two
unbelievable.
people, man. Come on, shit.
Isn't that illegal? Like they must have worked more than 10 hours straight.
Most probably
That should be is
should be investigated, man. Come on.
and that's
Asking
interesting.
two people to like check for that's why I'm not sure if it was like 50,000 people in the same place in one day. I think it's like overall for that day instead of being just from that part.
No, the whole day. I think they were like
Whole day from
the
whole
total
over
number
like
of tests.
Sydney or Sydney, New South Wales, right?
No, no, just like
Just from Fairfield.
the I think so. Fairfield has a big population. No?
Yeah, but two people doing 50,000 people in a single day, that
That's yeah.
seems like this is divided. Like how much like hour? Let's say they work for 10 hours, right?
Okay.
So let's say 10 hours into how 10 hours. 1 hour has 60 minutes. So it's like
Yeah.
600 minutes. Oh, sorry, what happened? Ten
What?
hours. Each
Six
hour have
hundred
60
people.
minutes, right? No, no, I mean
600
hours. If
people an
if they
hour.
were working for like 10 hours, I mean those two people.
Yeah.
So if they were working for 10 hours and each hour have 60 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So they have like 600 minutes.
Yeah.
So in 600 minutes, how many person can one single person do? If it took 1 minute to do one person, it's at least 600 people only.
Exactly.
That's why I don't get that data where they say like 50,000 people in single day. I think it's like whole over New South Wales or whole over Australia or something, because it can't be from one particular suburb to have
No.
that
Yeah.
many
People
people.
could have been coming from, but the thing happened in Fairfield, which was the news that I and but like, bro, it was only two people. It doesn't matter like how many days they finished it in. That's the thing. Like
Mm,
if it's so essential and that area is under red alert,
mm,
and people are like it has been closed down, it
yeah.
people cannot get outside of the LGAs. And if it's so important, I mean, I'm sure they might have done it now. I haven't checked the news, but when I saw it, I was like just puzzled. I was like, what? Doesn't make sense. Like, why would just two people be? Yeah. So government
Yeah,
is
that's
doing its
crazy. It,
part.
it's it's crazy pressure on health workers, man. Even last year and now, right now, whatever is happening is a big pressure on health workers and health system and everything. They're trying to hire or get as many people as they want, but
Yep.
maybe some people are just afraid to come, even if they can. It could be like we
And
don't have
people
the
would be
resources at
afraid.
all, you know.
Yeah, no, you would be afraid, bro, because people always are afraid of what they don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
this is a pandemic and nobody wants to get it, especially by going into it, like walking straight in it, because the chances are high. But I
Mm-hmm.
think there are people who want to make a difference, and there are people who are working, and that's very courageous. And like times have been tough for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but people are always gonna be. I think more people are gonna be empathic and understanding
Mm-hmm.
and helpful compared to people who are going to complain, who are always going to be there. And you might not agree to everything, but Sometimes when you look at the bigger picture, it might make sense. That's what I think. Like, you cannot be annoyed at the government for changing things so quickly because they are adjusting as well, and to lock down all the industries and everything, that's a tough decision. Like, you wouldn't just make it because your economy is going to stop.
Exactly, man. I'm so much. I don't exactly have an idea like how are they managing all these finances and everything, like giving even the disaster payment for people. Like that's something else we would love to talk. I would love to talk about you with what happened last year and how international students were completely cut off of any particular help or
Yep.
services. Although there were
Yeah.
different organizations, but nothing from the government. But this year they have been providing finances or COVID disaster payment even to the international students, which is a great thing. So they are like as
Yeah.
far as I see, there are some things that might not be feasible or okay for everyone out there because
Hmm.
it's not the same situation all of us are in. For some people, even if you don't have like a month of work or even if a year of work, it doesn't matter to them. But there are other people to whom it matters, you know. So I
Hmm.
can also understand the complaints of the people or whatever they're saying when they are not convinced with the government, but I can also see the fact that they are doing what they can. We have to do our part, and this is going to last long. This could be the new normal for all of us now.
Yeah, it's not clear if it's gonna finish
Nothing is
this
clear,
year as
man.
well.
Everything is so uncertain right
Uh,
now.
Speaking of the government, bro, I heard they separated about $5 billion. I think that's the budget for the relief fund.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a
Yeah.
big amount. And I was interested because I don't normally watch like big news or
Mm-hmm.
newspapers and stuff like that, but I was very interested because that's a lot of money,
That is.
firstly. And we have just Australia has been hit. I think it's 2019 when we had the bushfire, right? End
Yes.
of 2019. So that was disastrous. That was very bad in its own way, and many lives had been damaged or lost. And yeah, they had like relief funds for that. Then we had
They
flood.
still have it for that, I think, flood. And I think it's
Yeah,
flood, not the bushfire. But when you're calling them about your COVID disaster payment, there's an option where they say that flood relief something. So
yeah.
they still have to manage that right now.
So they are doing that, and then now this COVID. This is the second, big again,
Mm-hmm.
like second year running. So I think the economy is draining, and I would say that because two of the most two of the backbones of Australian economy,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, is hospitality and students. Like it's just people coming from outside with the diversity and
Mm-hmm.
skills and richness and just adding up. So this has seriously been affected, and the proof is most of my friends who work in hospitality, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't have any shifts anymore, and it's been a few weeks already, and some of them even having problem communicating with the government, with the local council to, to claim for that support money that the government um, has promised to provide
Mm-hmm.
to students, even students. So, you know, it's hard for them without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean,
I think
look,
it's
bro.
also a factor that the way we can understand all of this and appreciate this is like where we come from. Like
Hmm.
just compare right now in Nepal and here. We're
Hmm.
grateful that we're here instead of Nepal, you know,
Of
because it's
course.
much more riskier there. There are no proper services there. If you lose your job, the government isn't going to give you shit. So in that way, somehow we are able to appreciate the things that is happening here more, you know, instead of the
Yes.
people who have been here and who have complaints that this is right, this is wrong. We somehow appreciate these things, you know, even like being able to do what we can right now, even being able to
Hmm.
survive right now, you know. So I don't have much complaints about that, man. In
I mean,
2020, when they didn't give anything for the students, again, I think people only come and complain when it is related to them, or somehow when
It
it
affects
affects
them.
them, you know,
Yep.
instead
Yep.
they wouldn't complain. I think there's always that part, because as I said, I was I was complaining like in 2020 when they didn't give anything for the internet students, because we are here and we are a great part of the economy, you know, like internet students
Hmm.
have been generating a lot of income. And when it came, I can also understand in the government perspective that they thought about their people instead of someone else. That's, I think,
Yep.
understandable from a government's perspective, being able to protect their citizens better than others. But
First,
also,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I had a complaint about that because it was relatable to me. And I think
Of course,
that's
man.
who the
Like,
people are there, whoever are complaining about what the government is doing, because it's somehow or somewhat affecting them. And all we can do is listen to both sides, because both of them are right, you know.
yeah.
But looking at the overall picture, we have to control this.
And the only way to control it, to control yourself, right? Like,
Mhm.
do the right thing.
I wonder
Um,
if they could figure out that if whoever people have vaccinations, they, again, the thing, other thing about the people even who have already had vaccinated is that they might be vaccinated and the virus might not affect them, but if they go out and be in contact with another person who is not vaccinated, they could transfer it to them. So there's always a chance or possibility for that too, you know. So even if you have, if even if you are vaccinated,
so everybody needs to be vaccinated.
yes, and we don't know for
Wow.
sure even if that works. I have heard the news where they said that people who right now, even in this condition, whoever, like if people were in a group, then three people who were vaccinated didn't come in positive, and one person who wasn't vaccinated came in positive. So that somehow gives a hint that it is working. So it's a good thing to be vaccinated. I actually searched it online if I could get vaccinated, but we can't right now, because only the health worker or disability care worker or frontline workers, I think only they are getting, or maybe citizens only first. That's what they are doing, but we can't get the
No,
vaccine.
no, you can get like I think hospitality can get as well. Like,
Yeah, so it's either based on your work or
yeah,
based,
frontline workers.
yeah. So basically, it's for them. So we can't get it right now.
It's interesting, man.
Yeah, but I wonder, man. I hope that this vaccination works out, and this could be the solution. And as I said, it wouldn't be repeating every year and coming like as a festival. I hope that
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
I mean, I heard in England they opened everything up again,
Mm-hmm.
like the pubs and the clubs and everything. Like people are out on the streets and they're not wearing masks, and that's just like,
Like you can't say people not to do that, you know.
of
But
course, like it's a choice, and I think, like, just to put it bluntly, some people have chosen to live with the fear of COVID, and some have just not cared.
mm-hmm.
It's not like they don't fear, but they're more like, I don't care. Let's see what's gonna happen, kind of vibe. Because people have been sick of it, man. Like it's been a year. Like you know, you you literally can't do much.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, but it's a good thing for nature because it's coming back.
Yeah, that's the thing. There are actually few things that are good about having this pandemic. Like it's just looking from a different angle. Overall, it's
Hmm.
bad, but if you look from a different angle, there are things that have been good because of this thing. Because most people have been able to have a good time with their family. You know, stay home, be within family. It also has caused a lot of chaos within families, being confined in space. If they are not having good time, you know, there are always possibility for
Man,
that.
yeah.
But you know, there are good sides. Like that is one part, the one we were talking about. That's something businesses somehow have grown more, some of them, because of the pandemic.
Hmm.
Online
Hmm.
businesses, you know, anything that was online, digital, they have boomed in like past 1 year, you know. So
Of course, yes.
somehow or what, there have been like good sides to this pandemic too.
Man, it's just been good to have some time off and just rest, relax.
Yeah,
You know,
like for the
think.
first 2 weeks I was like having a good time, you know, like yeah,
Hmm.
chill,
I
man.
think
It's like
everybody
a
was feeling the same way,
mid-year
bro.
break. mid-year
Uh,
break, just relax, you
yeah,
know.
it's like, wow, 2 weeks off? What? I'll take it. And then you were like, oh, really? More? Like, when are we gonna go back to work? Yeah, last year was crazy, bro. I remember I was like panicking and shit, because.
Mm. Man, I was so scared. Even like I'm having a little bit of cough right now, but
Hmm.
last year if I had something like this, I was like, shit, did I get COVID? I used to be so scared, like literally scared, scary feeling that. But this year it's kind of
Mm,
low because I
okay.
am used to it. Plus, I
Hmm.
have been staying home. I've been not been going much out.
Okay.
So somehow because of that, I also tested already, so I come in negative. So that's
Oh,
a good thing for me. But
bro,
yeah, man.
I for me, I think it's the opposite. Because last year I was like
Mm.
very carefree or careless, I should say, about this whole pandemic thing. Because I was like, whatever. But this year, I think
Careful.
I'm
I'm careful right now too. Like I
more.
was in previous year, but I'm just not that scared like I was before because I'm
Mm,
more careful right now. Maybe that's why, or I've already tested and yeah.
yeah, I think I'm more careful right now as well. Because last year I just didn't give a, I didn't care.
I cared
Whatever.
in a lot of
You know.
sense. As I said, I was scared. So because of that scary feeling, also I cared a lot. I was trying to avoid and meet people. Like for the first like
Yeah.
1 month or so, it was like as you said. But after a month or so, I was like, I started getting scared, man. Come on, everyone is dying out there. Like a friend
Bro,
of
remember the
mine,
lockdown where there were like 8 people in the backyard? Like, that was like illegal at the time on a
it is during
Christmas
New
evening.
Year's time. Yeah, Christmas Eve or New Year's time. New Year's time, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was wow. Very. I was scared that day. Scared, concerned. I was
Concerned.
very concerned that day.
I think. Do you think like we have more like police officers out there on streets like this time than
Oh
before?
yeah, bro. That's a interesting thing to talk about because yeah, it's like wow, cops everywhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're like literally. I that happened last year too, but it's I don't know if I didn't notice it or I'm just noticing it more right now. But I can see like more cops all around, and they're like checking even in the news and everything.
I think it has grown, bro, since last year because and people really complain about cops coming out and
Mm,
they feel vulnerable because there's police watching over them every now and then,
mm.
and they feel like they don't have privacy. But if you think about it in the other way, maybe it has come down to this, otherwise they wouldn't have done it. So people are not doing
Exactly. Their part.
what they've been told to do.
Mm,
So government has to make sure that everybody is safe in the most convenient and possible way. You know,
mm,
you could even impose curfews. I'm sure if the government wants, they could do something like that, but they're not doing it. They're still like, go out, but only if you need it. Like if you're someplace where there are like a number of cases and you're just strolling in a park
mm-hmm,
without a mask, and then you say, oh, I just came to enjoy the sun. That's not going to be good enough, man. Like we have seen, especially this year, I think more people during the school holidays. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
mm-hmm,
There were news about people just like going about s- pretending in some cases to just doing exercise and not putting on a mask on the
mm,
beaches and just walking about like every day. And they were like, it was on the news. I think it was
mm-hmm,
Manly and northern beaches, some of the northern beaches, I think,
mm-hmm,
which is, yeah, like in the same country where cops are, running around catching people, finding them and whatever.
mm-hmm.
People are just, and I think that has pulled this decision from the government to do so because if they didn't and they let people do the right thing, people would never do the right thing. They would only like do what's right for them, as we all know.
Yeah.
And I hate people who don't want to admit or who can't admit that they're
Mm-hmm.
not they are selfish. Like, so, no, I'm not
Yeah,
selfish.
plenty of them.
How do you not know
As
that
I
you
said,
are
all of the
financially?
people who are complaining are the people who have been affected somehow or the other, and they can't understand that it's for the good for everybody else. They're just selfish.
People are always selfish, bro.
We are,
And
man.
when they
But
don't see it, I'm like, well, you don't need no proof. Like,
at least
you
agree
know,
to whatever you are.
yeah,
What do you think about the people who say that asking us to like wear mask all the time it's somehow uh, uh, what's the word for that, devaluating our, like, for freedom of speech, it's like not letting us have our freedom of speech, or it's uh what's the word for like hananunu in English shit, like basically they are
rip
overriding their
off.
freedom, they are dictating us, people like that who have who
Like,
basically who say that government making us wear masks is like against our freedom.
because we don't want to wear masks.
Yeah, and government is asking us, making us to wear it, so it's like against our freedom.
Bro, I think it's all about where people are coming from.
Mm,
Especially, I think these kind of things happen in like white Western cultures mostly. Everybody has a right,
yeah,
and when there's too many rights, it's always a chaos because everybody thinks they're right. But what's right is for everybody, not just for you. Like the law of nature or whatever for that
mm,
matter, it works on everybody and it's convenient for everybody. That's why it is. And we people can debate all they want, but if you think outside of yourself or beyond yourself and see it, okay, you don't want to wear a mask, fine, but if you wear a mask, this thing can actually come under control. So can you not be selfish for once? Like I don't
for
want to
the
wear it
well-being
either.
of everybody.
Yeah, I don't want to wear it either.
Hmm.
But if it is good for everybody and this thing will come under control or whatever, then why what's it's not a heavy thing,
Exactly,
it's not gonna scratch me or bite me or anything. I just have to put it on, and it's keeping me safe
exactly, it's
to
more
an
over for
extent,
yourself than somebody else.
so yeah, I don't know, man. It's like if you want to get it, then I guess nobody can stop you. If you want to jump, I cannot. You cannot go with someone. You can only say don't go. But if they want to go, they go, man.
I think those
And
are the kinds
I
of
think those are the voices that should be, distincted as, don't don't listen to them
mm,
category. Because yeah, if you respect every opinion, man, people are gonna say whatever.
earth is flat.
Yeah.
I think those are
So
the same people, like who say earth is flat. I think
exactly,
those are the same people who say don't wear a mask, it doesn't matter in the pandemic.
freedom. People talk about freedom like it's if you die,
Hmm.
what are you gonna do with the freedom? Like uh, you have to stay alive to enjoy it, right?
Exactly.
I want my freedom to not wear a mask. Okay, die tomorrow. If yeah,
Not only,
unfortunate, but
yeah, even if it was the case, like it's only like if they would go and if they would die, I would say like go and die, but they're
mhm,
affecting others too right now here in this situation. So it's not only they are affecting themselves, it's like they're affecting
exactly.
others too. If they were just affecting themselves, maybe just go do whatever you want,
You
I wouldn't say anything.
yeah. If it's just gonna affect you, then no harm.
Hmm.
But you are the victim and you are the carrier as well. And I think people forget easily, bro, how things were opening up.
Hmm.
Life was coming back to normal. Shops were
They were not.
opening. Dining. We went out so many times,
Yeah.
on road trips and dinner and whatnot. And things were opening up. You didn't have to put a mask. You could go out in the park and barbecue and play sports and go to movies and bars and dance and everything was
Yeah.
open. But and they didn't do it. I mean, they did it because the number of cases were, minimal and it was under control. Now suddenly the virus changes its genes
Mm-hmm.
and mutates into a new breed and comes in with another surprise which we were not prepared for, and we take our time to understand it
Mm-hmm.
so that we can get rid of it, the government is going to bring back the measures that are necessary for everybody to be safe. It's not about a particular group of people who claim that their freedom has been gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just you that live in the world. If you don't want to wear it, just make sure you've got $200 every time. That's fine.
Exactly. Pay the
Just
fine.
put $200 in your pocket and don't wear a mask.
Now, even then, you can't do
Buy
that,
your
man.
freedom.
As I said, even if you do that, it's not only you're gonna die, you're going to kill others too. So we
Exactly.
can't
So
let those kind of peoples go out and do whatever they want.
people are, and sometimes it seems harsh when like for example, I think in the shops, even like if there's one person inside, they have to put a mask or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like even after they're closed.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it seems harsh because when you're closed and you're just by yourself, you don't have like, or in an empty train, like you don't want to put on mask.
It's
But
hard, man. It's the thing is that whatever you're saying right now are like particular like small situations. We can't like have
Mhm.
this or that. It's already worse thing that we don't have the list of things that falls under essential and non-essential right now, which is a good thing in the sense that you can't just say that your business is unessential and not let them open or
Exactly, yeah.
anything. So in a sense it makes sense to, but since we don't have that, in situations like you were saying, there's no like this or that in that situation. Either you should
Mhm.
do it with a common sense and everybody uses that common sense and do it, and if you can agree to that, otherwise it's hard to explain those kind of situations. Like, there are hundreds of situations like those where is it an essential or not, should we do that or not, this or that, everyone is confused. Like government said something, and there are different fields to that, different branches to that, which get affected in such a
Exactly.
way that they don't know if they should be doing this or they shouldn't be doing that. It's hard to explain in each and every situation.
Man, I think because it's a global pandemic and it's not just one country
Mm-hmm.
or one group of people that's thinking about it or working on it. It's everybody. So everybody is has come to certain agreements. For example, wearing a mask
Mm-hmm.
or 1.5 meters or different prevention measures that they have announced, and it's everywhere. So the
Exactly.
nature of virus is going to evolve, but we can do certain things to keep ourselves safe and others safe.
We need to
And
evolve
that's it.
along with the virus.
That's it. Like if everybody were doing what they were being told to do, I don't think we needed so much police, uh,
Exactly.
people walking down the street because it's a virus, and police are gonna intervene and interview people. So when you have more number of police being involved, the chances of those police officers working getting the virus goes up as well, which doesn't have to, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like adding gas to the fire. You know, COVID attacks
Makes sense.
humans. Let's add more humans.
Doesn't make sense,
Doesn't
does
make
it?
sense, man. Like, and I'm sure those police officers, most of them don't want to do it. They're scared of their life or whatever, but they have to do it because it's their job. And I don't know, man. They would only say something to you if you broke the rule or if you did something wrong. So people are always going to be like, oh, what's right and what's wrong. But when it's right, I think it feels when you do it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this at least. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's so many stupid people who feel everything they do is right and just mess everything up. But
Mm,
when you do it, you feel it inside that okay, okay. Maybe I made the right move. Maybe I put the right step
mm,
because it felt natural or obvious, and that's just your gut feeling. And I think in the gut or in the inside, human beings are pretty much similar, if not same. So we care for one another. I don't know why we can't see it or how we can't see it, but if you just realize, I think we all care for one another in some way. You might hate your neighbor, but you might,
mm. Whatever you just said, I just pictured it in bigger picture. I think that's why we don't have peace. all around the world. Similar reasons, you know.
What is peace, bro? What is peace?
It's the
Oh
similar
man.
reasons, right? You can't think good of everybody else. You're just selfish
No,
and you just think about yourself. Again, that's like we have both sides, you know, like good and bad. That's the
we are
thing.
human beings, bro. Unless we are poked,
Hmm.
we wouldn't turn. But you know, when the situation calls, I think people can do things that they never thought they could do. You know, it's just we are very full of surprises. Depends on the situation.
We are. Like I said,
Yeah.
human beings would never be extinct until and unless
Um.
the solar system dies.
Yep. I think that's true. Because a lot has happened.
A lot, man. Even look at what has happened throughout like our life of like 25 to 30 years right now. How
Mm.
were we born? Where were we? And
We
where
have seen a lot, you
we
know.
are
We
right
were,
now, you know?
especially 80s and 90s, like that was the time when things were changing so fast.
It was like the technical revolution that's came in after the industrial revolution, I guess, all around the world.
Hmm.
And we are a part of that technological revolution.
Yeah.
We saw
And
we are a generation who actually had a life without cell phones and computers, and we are
right.
right now in a situation where we have everything. You know, we have seen both sides.
But look at this pandemic. It makes you wish you'd had one, like a computer or whatever now, because you can't do anything else.
Exactly, man. Just think about it. If only online coaching, online classes, or doing things business online wasn't possible, and there was this
Bro,
pandemic.
if pandemic happened like 25 years ago,
It happened, you know, like Spanish flu or
oh,
something like that. There were a lot in like
yeah.
US and
Oh,
everything.
yeah, true.
I
Yeah, yeah,
wondered
yeah.
how did they manage all of that, man.
Man, Spanish flu was one of the biggest, right? Oh, it
Yeah,
is. No, it was.
it killed. I think it killed equal or
Still there.
maybe a little bit less than the people that killed in like World War, like one or two. You know, like there was a graph where it showed that in the amount of people that died, there was a peak in World War One, and there was a peak in
Mhm.
World War Two, and in between there was another peak, which was the Spanish flu. So that many people died during that time. It's nothing compared to what how many people have died right now. So looking at that, of course, we will be getting out of this. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We just need to do our own part and just
Because
adapt.
imagine in those times, people would have been like, maybe somebody found the remedy, but they couldn't communicate so easily to
Exactly.
let other people know. And by the time the virus would have spread and killed, but now we got the internet,
Exactly.
the new virus.
The new virus in itself.
Yep.
That's a different story.
Very irritating, man. Internet is yeah.
Have you? You don't use TikTok, do you? Neither do I. And I just had this feeling like what my dad or mom would have thought about having a Facebook account when we were having them.
Oh,
You
like the
know?
thing when you see it now.
Yeah,
Yeah, like what's the use kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. Like we don't use TikTok. They should. We should
Yeah, because
use Facebook. You know?
we didn't grow up with that, right? We didn't grow up with chatting. The most was telephone, huh?
Yeah. We
That was
had
it.
chatting and stuff. I only got my like first mobile phone when I was in like high school in plus two.
Exactly.
So
So
there wasn't a
I think,
mobile phone in my home as a whole. We used to have like a landline phone.
bro, we were introduced to internet. I was introduced to internet when I was like 13 or 14, and even then I was very less interested in it because
Somewhere like that.
there was
Some.
so much to do outside and your friends and everything. So, and I think it only became relevant when I started, when you start partying with people and
Mm-hmm.
and you want to stay in touch,
Mm.
like old friends or relatives and family back home, you know. So it's always good when you keep it to do what it's for, I guess. Like, but when I mean, depends. Like if you run a business on Facebook, it's
Mm.
obvious for you to be like 8 to 10 hours online, and you might even hire people to do that. But if you're not running your business and your business is running you, and you're not running yourself, and you're just running your social media, then
Mm.
you're not doing your business, And I don't think that's a
That's their
yeah.
personal
Everybody
business.
knows it. Everybody knows it, bro. When I was younger, I thought of this idea in
Mm.
a way. I was like, oh, what if I come up with this scheme and I was aiming it at those parents who were
Mm.
sick and tired of their kids using their phone too many times, like every fucking time, and
Mm.
who couldn't do anything in like inside the house,
Mm.
you know. And I was like, oh, like we have a rehab for people who use their phone too much, like play games or chatting or whatever. And we're gonna teach them some important life skills, in the rehab. Like different rehabs have different techniques to deal with people.
Mm.
Our people are mobile phone and technology addicts.
Mm-hmm. We are
So
addicted to that, man. I am an addict to this phone. I can't live without it.
and maybe just take them and take the phone off and just teach them how to wash their clothes or cook something, something that could really be useful
Mm.
in your life rather than somebody else's lips getting being surgered, or whatever. Just it was a random idea, and I talked to some of my friends because I thought they were as mature as me, and it just remained an idea. But it's an interesting idea because I think life skills would, if you're more dependable on yourself, you're less complaining. You don't complain as much because you
Mm.
understand the possibility of things happening outside your control, and you're just like, I'm gonna work through it.
Mm.
And if you're like, if like it's like if you don't have the habit to exercise and somebody tells you to run,
Mm.
you can only run as much. But if you're in good shape, you might be able to do things better. Similarly, if your personality, if you train yourself
Mm-hmm.
to be a certain way, and if you have been in situations, so it's always good to learn stuff. And people think watching it on a 7-minute video tutorial is going to be enough, but unless you do it, you're never actually going to feel. So I think looking at something new from the internet and learning something
Mm-hmm.
new is completely acceptable, and it's the greatest thing in the world. But just watching,
You
I
need
mean,
to
not
have control
everything.
upon
You're
it.
not going to learn everything, but
Mm.
you need to practice as well. Because I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to do it, or.
We are from a generation where it's like we at least understand that. Like, I wonder the people who were born in 2000s, early 2000s, or late 2000s, I wonder if they even understand this thing, like how this is an addictive thing and this could get wrong. I mean, social media could influence people so much. Like, we can understand, we can somehow look into something and tell this is right or wrong, or we still have that maturity to figure out somehow by doing research or through our experiences that this is right or wrong. For people who have grown so late, like as I said, in early 2000s and late 2000s, social media could be their life. They would believe like anything that they see in the social media, and that's how social media work. Whatever you look at, what you're interested in, they keep on feeding you that more and more. So just think about
Yeah.
it. If someone is saying you from the very childhood age when you are looking in your phone that earth is flat,
Mm-mm.
and that's what all of the influential people that are saying, because that's what you have been following, that's what you have been
Yeah.
seeing all the time, they would believe earth is flat. Because those people who are putting out those kind of videos out there, especially this is also, I think the earth is flat theory has gone or skyrocketed after 17, 18, somewhere around that time, especially when the internet was so much available and everyone could just make it and just share it. There are people who
Okay.
say dinosaurs aren't real. There are people who say earth is flat and there's an ice wall at the end of Antarctica. I mean, there are people like that, and they believe in that. They live with that. So for the kids, even older people are like that. For the kids who are hearing that and doing that, man, it could influence them so much in a negative way in their, like lifestyle, how they see the world, how they know the world. Social media is a
I
big
think
thing.
it's gonna be a shame, bro, if like everybody has their own reality without experience. It's gonna be shame. it's going to be a shame for human existence, I think, in a way,
Yeah, man.
because y- you know we can only understand so much that our sense organs, these five sense organs, are the things that we experience most of our things from,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the best we can experience of anything. And in a way, like if you don't experience it,
Mm.
but because somebody told you, you know the answer, but you don't know the feeling.
Exactly.
So most of the things, we know the sun is hot, we don't have
Mm.
to feel it. We can agree with somebody's theory on this one, but personal experience in life, personal things, personal beliefs, things that guide your life, if these are, if you don't befriend them, or you're not like agreeing to it, and you just happen to say it, or throw it around, then I think it's a shame that you couldn't just, like, somebody who has a family but could never make peace, or
Mm.
share love and joy with his family. It's a shame, like, if you don't have a family, that's a different story. But if you have a family and you could not value it, you know because of, well, everybody has
Whatever
reasons.
reasons.
Some are tougher than others, obviously, but if you have something, it's best to
Experiences.
value it. Yeah.
Experiences are everything, man. That's what I want to have
Man,
in
that's
my
one of the
life.
reasons that I want to do this course, social work, and
Mm-hmm.
see if I can do something with, like, human psychology department,
Mm-hmm.
because I get, like, very, like, I with people, like, talk a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
get friendly, and talk about things, and I always try to understand, without much success, but
Mm-hmm.
where they're coming from, because it's always interesting, because you look alike and you talk, and you two human beings don't have much in difference. But when they start sharing their thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
not the facts, the thoughts, how they feel, how it is, but how they feel,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, wow, because so many things come to make that decision, or that statement, and so many of them we can't even. I don't think we can experience everything at once, or
Mm-hmm.
even if there's only so much that language can express.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So if we know the word, we know the thing. If we don't know the word, it's just a thing. Can you give me the thing next to
That's the
the
thing that
thing,
happened with
the
me
red thing?
before. I couldn't figure out a
Yeah.
word. Yeah, man.
So COVID, I think I was gonna invite one of my friends
Mm-hmm.
for this today, because he's an Uber driver. I mean, Uber Eats driver, and
Mm-hmm.
he was not having a good experience with his job, because obviously of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna take his side of the story, but he could not make it.
Okay.
I Yeah, because I was thinking, like, Uber drivers are the only people that you see on the streets, like,
Mm-hmm.
mostly in the evenings, especially when the cars are less, and
Mm-hmm.
the roads are, like, wider. Man, I was in King's Cross last week.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Friday evening. The restaurants were empty,
Mm-hmm.
and there were just, like, Uber drivers in front of the restaurant, and mostly on the road there were, like, bicycles just going around, which is what we can see what online job can do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I think Uber Eats drivers, they are in much better situation than people in hospitality business, because at least they have
Yeah.
a something to. I mean, anyone can do Uber Eats. I would suggest, like, anyone, like, just make an account. It doesn't take
Hmm.
anything. Just make an account, keep it. In times like this, maybe you can go out and do it
Yeah,
and earn some
just
money
do
and have
something.
some income. Because that's something you can earn good amount of money, man. Even now, if you go out, there are guys who there's a guy out here who's doing like Uber Eats 18 hours a day. He's earning
Mm.
good, man. There, it a few weeks back, he earned like $400 in a single day on a Sunday.
Wow.
400 in a
Wow.
Sunday, single day. So you can earn from Uber Eats.
Recently.
Yeah, a few weeks back recently.
That's great, man.
But he worked for like 10, 12 hours maybe. I don't know. He was there out from morning till the evening.
Bro, even if you work for 10 hours, you're making 40 an hour.
Yeah, something like 40, 30 an hour. It's you can do that. Maybe
Good money.
least as far as I know, it's 20 to 25 bucks an hour. Even in the
Mm.
minimum if you go. You need to be out there in the right timings. Maybe that matters because that's what I used to
Yeah,
doing
I think so.
work in the lunchtime and dinner time. But you
Hmm.
can easily get at least minimum of 20 to 25. Even like last year in the pandemic, I was at least happening. The minimum would happen 15 maybe. Otherwise, it was like 20, 25 all the time. So Uber is a good
Right.
source of income if you have nothing else, instead of thinking that now it's much better because government is giving 600 a week. So like you can just relax at home and not worry about anything. Because,
Yeah. And the government is also doing that for businesses, bro,
yeah,
because
dine
businesses
and
have lost
discover.
a lot of money. No, like, if your sales drop by a certain percent, you get a
Mm,
certain amount of money kind of thing. I think they did it in 3 stages. I can't exactly remember
mm,
the figures, but I'm sure there was something. And what I realized working in this cafe now is because they already had such a good online clientele
mm,
base, so Uber Eats and everything involved, they like we haven't suffered much in
mm,
terms of like, of course we have suffered because people are not walking on the streets and it's been quiet, but just like online and stuff has been so busy.
mm,
And there's some other shops like next door or across the street that did not have a very good online client base,
mm,
did not have a like a reputation for being consistent and regular,
mm,
and they have been suffering massively. But because they have been getting money from the government because of their sales drop, they are able to continue, and
mm,
that's some kind of support, which I think is good, but maybe it's supporting some businesses that shouldn't be running in the first place as well. Like,
mm.
but I'm nobody to say it, obviously, but a business should know when they should shut down because some businesses are just like they're taking the government's money in a way, the fund. Not that they don't deserve it, but it could have been better used somewhere else. You
You
could
can
just
always
like,
think like that in anything, but the government maybe not doing enough, but I can see them doing something out there because even with the
man, I think government is doing a lot.
dine and discover, the idea of getting $100
Yup,
from all the citizens, and so it's basically they are helping
promoting.
both the people out there and the businesses out there. More people go out there, more business. They might like the food and might go there again, So like they are promoting the business in a way and they are also giving some kind of grant for the people to enjoy. So it was a very good idea, I think, the dine and discover idea. And as you said, how they are getting like different like payments based on how much losses they have had. There was a case like
Yeah.
last year where I used to work in Oakley in sales, and
Hmm.
they opened up with only the people who were getting the payment. So basically, they were opening up, they were getting the revenue, but government
Hmm.
was paying for all their stuff.
Right. Yes.
So
So that
there
they
was
didn't have to
that.
pay. Yeah.
Maybe they might have to do the same. Nah, but this time it's like everyone is getting, so it wouldn't be like that. But what I'm saying is government is doing whatever its part. Could do more, but it's not like they are not doing anything, you know.
I am a little bit concerned with government's generosity to help everyone because that's a lot of money,
Where
bro.
are they
That's a
getting
lot of
all of it
money, and
from?
it's not just once. It's happened like 4 times in the past 2 years.
It might affect our
So
tax.
sooner or later, it's going to affect us in some ways. I mean, we can already see the transportation costs have gone up, and
Mm-hmm.
so have some. Bro, I remember when we first came here,
Mm-hmm.
you went to like Woolies
Mm-hmm.
and you bought something for like $20. It usually would be 2 bags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it used to be a lot, but I feel like $20 doesn't buy you much these days because everything has gradually,
Yeah, man. I never noticed that.
changed over the time.
I can see like
I feel so, like, I don't know.
I see I spend more than before, but I never noticed the increase in price much because I never see the bills and anything. I just buy it
I
and
think
just
that's one
use it.
habit we need to, yeah, because it's interesting. You know, I just felt like, oh, I remember buying like 2 bags of
Mm.
stuffs a certain amount of money, and now I spend sometimes maybe a little bit more than that, and it's not as much stuff, which is okay. Prices go up you gradually over the
Mm.
years. That's understandable.
It might
But
also be the kind of product you're buying, like what you used to buy before and
yeah,
what you
that
buy
depends
now.
on,
But
yeah, of course.
surely it has. The prices have increased, man.
But
We
they have gone
haven't
up.
noticed it properly. As I said, I didn't notice it. I noticed it in transportation for sure. The way the price have increased, I've noticed
Yeah,
that.
transport, bro, Sunday, the whole thing is gone. Travel free on Sunday kind of thing. Two
There
dollar
was free
saving.
on Sunday, then $3 on
Yeah,
Sunday.
like
Right now, I don't know how would they have.
I think it's the eight is the maximum you can spend or some bullshit like that. I don't want to spend maximum. I want to spend minimum. Like, oh, the most you have to spend is
It
eight
is,
dollars.
man. Yeah,
That sucks, bro.
it is going to
But
affect us, man. The economy
yeah, I'm just
is rising.
curious about the government's plan and approach to as to how not just Australian government but worldwide,
Mhm.
especially in third world countries where things are just like people are not even worried about it because it's just another drama.
Unmanaged,
It goes on.
unorganized.
It's never like everything was good and then I saw a rubbish and I'm like, oh, it's a rubbish. It doesn't look good. I'll take it away. Compared to you're walking in a street full of rubbish. So
Mm.
what are you gonna clean first? I think it's, bro, just the way things have been going on back home and changing of presidents or prime ministers in times like these. Oh my God,
It's funny,
it's
man. It's hard to make people understand.
don't even
I'm
know how
I'm
to start.
sure the number of COVID cases is going to increase because of the recent rally. I'm sure the numbers are going to increase because of that single rally.
I think it has to, because according to some people that I know back home who are like into in certain positions of
Hmm.
certain looking things from the inside have been like there have been masks and sanitizers and stuff from WHO and stuff like that that has just been in the go down for months, and it's going out of date when it's used. I don't understand why
There is
that's
no
happening.
management, no organization, and I think anything out there takes a lot of process that it has to go through a lot of process, which is unnecessary, and
Yeah,
that's why those things get stuck. Plus, people somehow are trying to get profit even after that, even with the donations that are there for the people
yep,
who they aren't human beings, man. They don't care about someone else having problem. They have no feelings or empathy for people. Like there are people. It annoys me so much to know that there are people like that in the world out there.
yeah, bro. I think work, like honesty in work, honesty in anything in life for that matter, is a culture,
Hmm.
and I don't think we have a hardworking, honest cultural background.
Hmm.
If we look at the background of our community in Nepal, shift of topic, but the Brahmins who were ruling back then are ruling now. They are the ones who get to be the presidents and prime ministers, all the major privileges of the society
Hmm.
in every way. So they have a culture to exploit.
Hmm.
You know, let's face it, we all know it.
Hmm.
We don't talk about it because it's like whatever issue, you give it a name. I'm something something, but you and me, we can talk about it because we're friends.
Hmm.
So I'm a bound Brahmin, whatever, and I'm not proud of nothing or anything. Sorry, I'm not proud of anything because I haven't done anything, and
Hmm.
what we had done, some of it might be good, but the other fact that we proudly say, so you were taller because you pushed someone down.
Hmm.
You were not taller, you just didn't play the game fair. And I don't, but people, so the culture eventually turned out to be the same way, one exploiting
Hmm.
the other, son carrying father's footsteps. I mean, how biased is society still with the caste and everything,
Still now,
still to
man.
this day? and I'm sure we may not be so critically biased, but
Mm-hmm.
there are people our age who still believe in it and practice it, and they haven't changed a bit, and they are new generation. So when people say new generation is going to do it, not everybody in the new
Mm-hmm.
generation
If they
is
have
on the
been,
same
yeah,
platform.
if they have been raised by the older generation in such a way that they can't change their mind right now, it's not going to change, man. It's not only about young generation doing things. If the values they have, the beliefs they have are from the same old culture, which is harmful for others, no,
Mm.
you should take the good ones. I'm not saying not take anything, take the good ones. But if there are something that
Yep.
are harmful, if that is not working, mate, forget about our country, man. It's all about identity politics out there, where people are like, it. Which party are you from? That's what matters. It doesn't matter what kind of development are you doing or what is going right or wrong. Which party you are from is what matters. So
Mhm.
we can't say any. We can't make sense with those kind of people. No matter what you say, if something is wrong, they wouldn't agree to that because whatever they do is right. Whatever their party does is right. I don't know how are we going to manage that or organize that, man.
I mean,
Frustrates me.
politics, I don't get it, and I would
Me
leave it to
neither,
the
man.
politicians. But common sense and humanity, I think there's no such business as which doesn't have, common sense and humanity a little bit in some way, except for cemetery, like
Mm.
where you put people down. You don't need humanity, and you certainly don't need common sense to
You
deal
don't
with
even need
this no
it.
person. But it's I don't know, man. People are selfish, and sometimes when you don't know it, you cannot see beyond it. I think it's like if you don't know that you have sunglasses, then
Mm-hmm.
when I tell you to take your glasses off, you're not gonna take it because you don't know it's there. So I'm just saying you have to know it's there because it's you.
Mm.
And every generation has changed things for the better, at least. Some have been worse, but like not everybody fought like after the two world wars. The people didn't go on to continue another one. Somebody did, and everybody else learned from the mistake. So there are some experiences bad in life that need to happen once so that they don't happen ever again. So I
Oh.
hope COVID is something like something we can learn from it, but I don't see it, bro, because everybody was like, oh, COVID taught us that, we're all the same and it's important to care for one another and all those posts on Facebook, but I still know people being mean
Mm-hmm.
on the streets on a consistent almost basis. Just like traffic,
Mm-hmm.
people honking horns in this time. There's no there's no traffic on the street and people are just like mercilessly like,
Honking.
so at this time like there's no cars.
Yeah, those are the kinds of people who are frustrated,
Oh
and road is the place where they take it out.
man, look at us sitting here judging people. We don't know shit, bro.
We
We
don't
don't
know.
know shit.
We don't know.
But
Yeah,
it's fun, right? Because
it's
we
fun,
we can
man.
do it because we are friends. Like I couldn't have this conversation with uh, somebody
Anyway,
else because they're
yeah.
they're gonna make like, oh, this guy is this way,
Uh, make that kind
and
of
they're
judgment.
always wrong because I don't know where I am. I'm still trying to figure it out.
That's the thing with us. I think we judge people too easily.
Oh, so easy to
Yeah.
judge, man. Yeah, that's something I'm trying to not do
No,
so much.
I like
Yeah,
coming out here in
because it's
Australia.
always you think you understand people when you judge them, and you
Mm. No, you don't actually. Like, depends upon how long have you been with them. I think it's hard to know anyone in a few days or a few weeks of time. Some people are like that who you just connect with somehow and you just
yeah
are on from the day one. But
yeah
even with those people, I think it takes years of time before you actually know them. It's I think you need to see them in a situation in which
they react.
they react to, like the situation, sometimes
Yeah,
when it's wrong, or in situations which is of some discomfort to them, and the way they react, I think that
Yep,
kind
yep.
of experiences and that kind of moments defines that person rather than when they're like happy and bubbly. So
Agreed.
it's hard
Yeah.
to know what someone is like, or what the person would be like in just few weeks, a few days of time, I think.
And I feel like the more you know the person, the less you judge them
Hmm.
because you understand. So, I think
That's true.
judging someone is mostly someone that you don't know.
Hmm.
So we are taking the extra burden. Firstly, we don't know the person, and secondly, we're trying to figure them out. And some people have an impression of someone
I don't think that works actually.
uh, some people, I mean, we
No,
all
I mean
do.
like judging people that you
You
don't
shouldn't do
even
it, but
know.
like you met someone once and you could be like, oh, what does this dude or this chick, do? Or
Mm.
I'm sure people are, man, people are crazy. I'm sure people are like, but yeah, bro, good
But
talking.
mm,
Mm.
what if it's coming back to the topic of pandemic? I think it's going to be sooner or later. It's going to get normal. But I also believe that this is just an example of what could happen. I think
Mm.
maybe in our lifetime, maybe not in our lifetime, we will see another virus, another pandemic like this. Because
Hopefully.
there are a lot of controversies out there that say that it's a virus that leaked from a lab. So it could be like, instead of having a nuclear war out there, we might be having this bio war, you know.
By what?
I mean, there's a chances for that, man. There's a possibility for that. So I don't think like this is only the time we're going to see this. I think this has only taught us how to deal with it, and we would be able to deal with things much better if it ever happens again.
That's the least we could hope, man. If it happens again and we show the same immaturity, that's not very helpful.
That's fucked, bro. Alrighty then. I think that's a good note to end our
Sweet,
podcast
bro.
in. Whatever happens, everything will be alright. Everything will be good.
Everything's gonna be good, man.
Yeah.
Let's just, stay safe. And I, I, I wouldn't say take care of one another
Take care of
because,
yourself. Take care of your loved ones.
yeah, at least, like take care of yourself and just put on your mask and sanitize your hands
Yeah.
at least.
Alrighty then.
All
Thank you
right.
very much for coming us in our podcast, coming with us. We'll
Pleasure.
talk soon. Bye
Talk
bye.
soon, bro.